You have seen Starfield's opening sequence, but maybe you haven't realized it yet. In June of last year, Bethesda showed us the first ever gameplay of Starfield, and there were a lot of clips from different parts of the game. But I think if we piece a lot of those clips together, we can actually get a pretty clear picture of the intro of Starfield. Am I 100% sure this is gonna be correct? No. Am I 80% sure? Maybe. And am I gonna look dumb when I'm completely wrong? Yeah, probably. So let's get into it. Before you actually enter the game, I think the very first thing you're gonna do is character creation. I can almost say with certainty we're gonna be starting out as a miner in a little mining settlement. For example, in the character creation here, you can see that you have an employee ID, and there are a lot of things throughout the trailer that support the whole being a miner thing. So you're probably gonna wake up in your little quarters or something, and then you need to suit up, grab your mining laser, and actually go out into the mines. I think this part will act as sort of the basic control tutorial. So you speak with your supervisor, and then you get like the tutorials for walking, jumping, crouching. So after a little bit of mining, you're gonna find the artifact. And then this cutscene will play.
As to what they are, what they're building.
After the cutscene, your supervisor is gonna call Constellation. And then this guy comes in. So then he tells you to go to Constellation with the artifact. But I think before he can actually finish his story, or maybe right after, the Crimson Fleet is gonna attack, and you're gonna get your first combat tutorial.
That's the Crimson Fleet!
Everybody get ready!
This is everything we can basically say for certain about the Starfield intro. So now we're gonna get into the more speculative part. First of all, we still have to acquire a ship. The boring answer would be that we already start with a ship, or maybe we get it from our supervisor or the Constellation guy when we discover the artifact. Much more interesting would be if the Constellation guy actually dies and we take his ship. If we look at these three clips, we can see that in the first clip, this is the ship the Constellation guy arrives in. And then in the other two clips, that is actually our ship. And yeah, they are practically identical. So, do we actually get his ship? Or is it just a very common ship in the Starfield universe? But let's entertain the idea you do. Well, it will probably go down by him dying. So either or he dies in battle with the Crimson Fleet, and after that you discover his body. But the prediction I like most is in this cutscene when you're actually talking to him. And he's just explaining some stuff, and then mid-sentence he just takes a bullet to the head from like a sniper shot, and then the Crimson Fleet comes in and attacks you. So yeah, those are a couple ways how we could acquire our first ship in Starfield. Let me know in the comments what you think. We do know we won't be heading to New Atlantis straight away, because Todd Howard said in the E3 presentation that after a couple initial encounters we will be going to Constellation to New Atlantis. So what are those couple initial encounters? I think they're probably gonna be like your basic introduction mission. I mean, it would be logical, because if you look at Bethesda's past games, like Skyrim and Fallout 4, before going to the main cities of Whiterun and Diamond City, in both games you had like a little town between the intro of the game and actually arriving at a big main city. In Skyrim this was obviously Riverwood, and in Fallout 4 you could say this was Sanctuary or maybe Concord. And maybe the big chunk of gameplay we saw of the abandoned research facility on Crete is actually one of those first missions. Let me explain why. First of all, the levels are really low. We can see that almost all of the enemies are level 2. And on top of that, the location is kind of boring and simple. So it would be weird if this was like a main endgame mission. So it looks like the perfect introduction to dungeons / bases, or how you want to call it in Starfield. Because there you can get introduced to some of the more advanced mechanics like lockpicking and sneaking. And also a big clue is this clip right here. Did you see it? In the top left corner it says mission updated, one small step. And obviously that is from the first moon landing, where Neil Armstrong said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." So it would be the perfect name for your first quest. That was all I wanted to talk about today. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, because there will be a lot more Starfield content coming in the coming weeks. And I'd love to see your guys' ideas about the first quest in the game, so leave them in the comments down below. And then I'll see you at the next one.